This is the iPhone SE. For only $400, you are basically getting the speed of the newer iPhone 11s inside the body of an iPhone 8 with a few changes made to it, and that is truly all the phone that you need. And this phone is really perfect for two groups of people: those who prefer a smaller, more portable phone, and those who are shopping on a budget. But the thing is, budget is the wrong word to use when talking about the iPhone SE, because yes, it is the cheapest phone that Apple now sells at only $400, but that price point is not at all indicative of its quality, and that becomes very obvious the second you take this phone out of the box. The iPhone SE has got to have the highest quality design of any smartphone in this price range by far. There is no plastic to be found whatsoever, it's just a glass back with metal edges. It's kind of funny to me how the $400 iPhone SE managed to avoid using plastic, but the new $1,000 Note 20 couldn't. I'm normally someone who prefers using bigger phones like the iPhone 11 Pro Max, but one thing that is really nice about using a phone this small is just how easy it is to use with one hand. You can reach everything on the screen without having to shuffle around the phone in your hand, and that just makes using the phone that much better. And one thing that I was really worried about with using a phone this small is how typing and overall media consumption would be. And while yes, those things are certainly better on a bigger screen, it actually didn't bother me at all with the iPhone SE. I was pleasantly surprised. The SE screen is the exact same screen as the iPhone 8 with one small change, and that is that it doesn't have 3D touch. But besides that, it's a good screen. It's not anything impressive because it is a 3-year-old screen, but it's still a good screen. It has plenty of detail and pretty vibrant but not oversaturated colors. But I would say that my one gripe with this screen is that it just doesn't get as bright as other phones do. And that's not really a problem when you're indoors, but when you're outdoors in a really bright environment, then it can get a little bit annoying. Below that screen, we have something that we haven't had in iPhones for quite a while now, and that's a fingerprint scanner. It's the same super fast fingerprint scanner we know and love from the iPhone 8, and with everything going on in the world right now, I can't tell you how much I've missed using a phone with a fingerprint scanner, because with Face ID, wearing a mask, my phone almost never recognizes me and unlocks, and that is just super annoying. So using the iPhone SE has been a breath of fresh air to say the least. And it's also the same speaker setup as well from the iPhone 8, and for how small this phone is, it actually gets pretty loud and packs a decent punch. Moving on to what is in my opinion this phone's best feature, the camera. Now this phone does only have one camera on the back, and yes, it is the same one from the iPhone 8, but this is a new processor and software which makes the photos that come out of this camera better than before. In good lighting, the photos are vibrant and sharp without being too much so. The dynamic range is excellent, and the camera is pretty quick to accurately grab focus. However, this phone doesn't have any sort of night mode, so photos do start to become grainy and not that good as the lighting gets worse. There's also a portrait mode, but unfortunately it only works on people and not objects, which is a bit of a bummer, but it does still produce good looking results, and you can still get that blurred background effect with macro photos if you get really close to the subject. The iPhone SE can record 4K video at up to 60 frames per second, and the quality is seriously impressive. Here again, we see that same vibrant and sharp video, an impressive depth of field, excellent dynamic range and image stabilization, and most importantly, the camera is good at quickly and seamlessly switching focus. And for slow motion, you can go all the way down to 240 frames per second at 1080p, and that can give you some really cool looking video. Rounding off this review, one of the things that I was really worried about with the iPhone SE was battery life. After all, it is a smaller phone, so there really only is room for a small battery. But honestly, the battery life is what surprised me the most with the iPhone SE. Now to be clear, this is not the longevity champion that the iPhone XR and 11 are, but it was able to get me through even my heaviest days of usage with just a tiny bit to spare. Now, this doesn't have any sort of fast charging support, although if you do want that, you can buy a USB-C to Lightning cable and USB-C charger straight from Apple if you do want that, and there is also wireless charging, but since the battery is a smaller battery, it really doesn't take that long to charge with the included charger, so keep that in mind. If I had to sum up the iPhone SE in one word, it would be safe. You really can't go wrong with choosing this phone. And we know Apple will continue to give it software updates for many years to come, which just adds to the already insanely long life cycle that this device will have. Yes, the iPhone SE could certainly be a better phone, but that's not what this phone is about. It's about nailing the essentials and giving those to you at an affordable price. And honestly, while using this phone, I forgot that I was using a $400 phone. The iPhone SE is a very compelling phone, and I have no problems recommending it.